Hello everyone. So here we are in, what the hell battle is this called? Orchard Hill. Yeah, that's it. There's so many hills and hemos and stuff that I just kind of lost track. Here we are on Orchard Hill. We've got 48 minutes left on the clock, and we're just going to do a quick review of where the battle actually stands and what's happened so far. A couple of observations to get out of the way very quickly. Number one, the marsh here, the use of marsh tile to represent flooded ground, I don't think is a particularly good move on behalf of the scenario designer. I would much rather something else. But I mean, I suppose, you know, you got to do something. There's no kind of, like, I don't know why you didn't just put like muddy ground texture. But one thing that I have to say is that this marshy area is a more significant obstacle than I expected it to be, but not as bad as it could have been. I thought these two bunkers over here would be able to target units that are crossing the marsh, but it seems like they do not have line of sight anywhere out here. So as far as I can tell, the two bunkers are just an irrelevancy, which is why I've stopped targeting them with my artillery, because number one, it seems 75mm howitzer fire, even scoring direct hits right on top of the dang bunker, doesn't do anything to the people inside. I mean, I don't know if I have to hit them a certain number of times for them to be counted as destroyed or what have you, or maybe it just doesn't have enough penetration. I don't know. But the bunkers themselves are an irrelevancy, so we're not going to focus on them any longer. Once I get my infantry up behind them, it's pretty easy to knock them out with grenades or close assault, or just to bypass them and ignore them. Should be fine. My plan to focus on one side of the map and then traverse lengthwise across has pretty much gone by the wayside because of the marsh area here. And I do want to avoid the ground directly in front of the two bunkers, just in case they can see, and I'm mistaken about that. But for the most part, it would take too long. The actual traversing of this marshy area with a unit on move orders, because you don't want them to get tired out by the time they get to the other side of the marsh. With a unit on move orders, it takes about maybe 3 to 4 minutes to walk across this area. So I've kind of lost some time just due to the fact that I have to sit here and wait for my units to get across the marsh before they can move on. And I'm doing my best to try to keep these guys in good fatigue levels. You can see here that this guy's unready, which is fine, right? He's ready. So they didn't get tired out crossing the marsh. Then once they get into the open ground on the other side, I have them move quick up to the first line of hedge. I had a few teams arrive over here to no particular effect. These guys have been here for a while. They've rested up a smidgen. They're now ready to move on. These guys are still tiring, but they've lost the yellow outline for tired. These guys are tiring again, but I'm just moving them up short of this hedgerow. This was my lead scout. They're in position. They moved all the way up here on hunt command. They did not take any fire all the way up. I'm assuming that there are Germans in this side of the hedgerow over here, along this road. I'm assuming they're there. I mean, they should be. If they want to contest this side of the map at all, they have to be somewhere over there. Otherwise, I can cut into this field here, move up along this side of the hedgerow over here, which I doubt. There's definitely something right there. Definitely. You don't have a gap in a hedgerow like this without a gun covering it. But I'm going to try to move up along the side and then bust out into here. There doesn't appear to be any major obstacles. I have dropped some mortars on this road back here. Just some 60mm mortar fire just to harass and pin down anybody who's behind here. Because I did take a couple of scattered rifle shots from somewhere, but it wasn't too effective, and my guys are still just moving along like normal. As far as on the right hand side of the map, I did spot a couple of units in this hedge right here. They backed off behind this hedge, so I dropped a few mortar rounds over here, and I did see a machine gun team and something else probably moving from over here. I started dropping a bunch of mortars on these houses because I was fairly certain there was a forward observer of some kind in these. So I dropped a bunch of mortars on the houses to no visible effect, but one thing I did notice was that a German machine gun team ran from over here somewhere out this hedgerow and took up position in front of it to escape the mortar fire I was landing over here. So I just quickly redirected some fire over here. I don't think I took out the actual gun itself, but I probably caused a few casualties. It's just a really quick shot. I'm not going to expect it to do much. As far as over here, the Germans seem to have some kind of pre-planned TRP positioned up here. There should be a bunch of dead bodies on the ground, unless I buddy-aided them already. Okay, yeah, they're busy being buddy-aided with the last couple of guys left in the team. This squad right here, you know, third squad, they took a few casualties from mortar fire. A couple of dudes are dead. They took another casualty back here that I buddy-aided. But as they moved up here, they took some quick artillery fire impacts that had... They did shoot spotting rounds, though, so maybe it's not a TRP. But I became concerned that they were under observation from somewhere. So I kind of scanned the camera over here, and I thought to myself, well, what's the only place that could really observe? Probably this house right here. This upstairs window. So I started dropping some mortars on that building. Yeah, who knows if it worked or not. Further to the right, somewhat to the left, I've got a few teams, and in fact an entire squad just walking through, and they've not taken any fire or anything. So they're going to be moving up to the edge of there, and then they're going to quick move up to that little hedge, and once they reach there, I'll have them move further ahead up to that line where I've already got my leading teams. These guys are they're kind of doing a little gamey edge rush over here, but you know, that's to be expected. It is a safe lane of travel right through, and it shouldn't be a problem. This squad up here has already gone through, and right now they're just waiting for enemy contact. As you can see, these guys are fatigued. They're ready to move, and they're tiring, but they're still ready. So I'm going to hunt these guys across, and I'm going to leave these guys in Overwatch so they have a chance to rest. But I just started putting down some mortar fire on this side of the hedge, because whenever you see a wheat field and the terrain itself slopes like that over towards another hedge. Here, let me show you an example of what I mean. What I'm wary of is whenever you see a wheat field like this, if you try to trace your line of sight to the other side, you get an area target there, but this whole side of the field down here by the gate is not visible. It's only right around here to about where this tree is, and then on this side you can't see any of them. So you got to be careful when you're going across. Any enemies up here can see down across the field to my side easily, and they may be on very short ambush orders or something, or maybe nobody's even here at all. But the point is that you have to cover the place you can't see. So I'm going to move these guys across right to here and right to here, these being the areas that the base of fire team over here can see, or at least this one can't. But this one, well, okay, he's only got partial line of sight. So I might actually have to move my base of fire team to the right a little bit, because let's check his line of sight. He can barely see as well. Okay, how about this guy? All right, he can see much better. So what we're going to do is, while the rifle section is moving out, and I'm going to put these guys on the pause command. Give them 20 seconds of pause. These guys are actually going to just quickly move over here, face in that direction, so they can take advantage of the slightly better line of sight from this action spot as opposed to this action spot. And that should be alright. because they've got the BAR and the grenade launcher in their team. So that, I mean, grenade launchers are pretty shitty anyway, but you know. As far as over here, I've got one team just moving out a short distance into the field here, and then I'm going to have another team leapfrog him. This is just a two-man scout team, and he's got a base of fire team right here that's just finishing their movement. And then we have the squad leader over here with his submachine gun and lots of grenades. So if I need to move in quick and hit something, I can. But for the most part, they're just probing ahead. I don't know where the enemy is. I haven't seen any major indications of an enemy line except for these two bunkers, which we all know about, and the few enemy units that moved back from over here up to this area here. So, over the next 20 minutes of the battle, I'm going to try to push the remainder of my infantry, because as you can see, all my guys who were in the back in reserve have now been pushed forward. All of my infantry are going to push forward up to these opening lines here, opening line here, and I'm going to probe forward towards the next couple of lines until I make actual solid contact, in which case we will develop it. My supporting teams, at least the 60mm mortars, are going to stay right where they are. A lot of them have fire orders, just little target briefly things. These guys are actually going to be ceasing fire soon. And then my machine gun teams, my heavy machine guns, are going to hang out back here for another few turns, and then I'm going to pack them up and start moving them forward as well. Light machine gun teams are already moving out. These guys have the M1919A6, so they're pretty mobile, and that's about it. I got a couple of A6 teams here and a bazooka team. These guys are already moving up across the marsh, and they're going to come out the other side. And then, of course, there is the heavy machine gun M1917A1. He's already moved up and set up, so he can see. You've got a nice wide field of view, but it's not perfect. You know, you can really only see the first line of hedges. Basically, it was intended that if my scouting teams over here ran into contact, that M1917 would be able to shoot over their head into the hedge. Haven't needed it so far, so who knows. And this other 1917 moved up a little bit, mostly just to cover the area with the bunkers. What I wanted to do was get him in a position where he could start shooting at them, but apparently he can't see them from his position. They're kind of on a reverse slope. So, alright, but at least he's in a position where he can provide support kind of off to this side over here on this side of the field. But there's really not much else to be said. We're still moving to contact. It's been 22 minutes. We spent 22 minutes trying to do preparatory artillery on these bunkers, which completely failed and was a big fat waste of time. I mean, seriously, these things are impervious to everything I can throw at them, which, you know, I don't feel all too great about that. A wooden bunker I wouldn't think was all that tough. But yeah, they're impervious to everything. 81mm mortars, they eat them for breakfast. I mean, I'm even still... Oh, never mind. I'm targeting the area behind him. Yeah, see, the 81mm mortar was targeting the house. Landed a few direct hits on the house. Mostly landed in front and behind. Who knows? Maybe we caused some casualties. Those aren't particularly robust buildings up there. But yeah, these bunkers, they eat 60mm, just bounces right off. 81mm mortar, they eat it for breakfast. And 75mm howitzer, they have that for lunch and ask for a second helping. So there's really nothing I can throw at them from afar that's going to make a difference. I do have some breach teams with where are they? I have some breach teams with a demo charge. Maybe I'll just use them. I'll just run them up behind it and just let them lunchbox it, and that would finish it off. But for the most part, like I said, we're still trying to move to contact. These guys are getting ready to probe ahead to the next line. I got one squad on this side and I got one squad on this side. That may not be enough, in which case we're just going to have to wait for the rest of the platoon to catch up. I've got, you know, platoon over here. This is just the leading squad of that platoon. The rest of them are all back here. And then this platoon over here, that's the lead squad of the platoon. The rest of them are just moving up over here. Once they get across and start quick moving up, I'll start putting them up on the line, and then they will consolidate and then move forward again. The only reason I'm pushing single squads ahead, as far as I am, is because in the briefing it mentions that the Germans are going to attempt to escape, and that any Germans that escape off the map they're going to show up in the next battle. So now is the time in the campaign where the casualties we inflict on the enemy actually have an effect on the campaign as a whole. And to that end, I've taken my 75mm and I've drawn it just right across this top of the hill where I can see, and I'm just going to keep up that harassing fire, and if I can, I'm going to try to march it a little bit further back on the line if I can. I don't know if he's adjusted yet. Yeah, he's still currently adjusting from his point target on the bunker, one of these two. But yeah, we're going to draw a line across like this, and we're going to let some harassing fire go like that. Hopefully it flushes the enemy forwards instead of pushing them backwards. Because if I can flush them forwards, then I can hit them from the front with my mortars. Honestly, with the benefit of hindsight, I'm looking at this and I'm thinking to myself, I should have just left that pre-planned harassing barrage going across the map like that. I should have just left it there. It would have been much more useful just to have 50 minutes of harassing fire on a line back here than wasting a lot of 75mm rounds trying to knock out a couple of bunkers, which, I mean, as you can see, look, let me zoom in on this guy, right? We've put direct hits on him right up on top. You can see the impact right there. Right there. You see that? That's the impact. That's where the round impacted. Right there on the top. And there's another one that impacted right there on the rear quarter. Right there. Smacked right into it. Okay? And I do believe there was another one that hit the side. I think it landed on the ground right on the side of it. But we had two direct hits with 75mm howitzer. And then over here on this bunker, you can see a direct hit right on the front and a direct hit right on the top. Another direct hit on the back right there. And then this guy also had near misses that impacted the ground right next to it. It's just they don't show up because of the terrain deformation. Not to mention the plethora of hits that have landed directly in front of it that would have sprayed, you know, fragments at the front of it or blast effect at the front. And I've also had rounds impact directly behind it. Because one of the things that was noted before was that the door itself is actually a weak point. Well, it doesn't appear to be a weak point anymore. Because these things have just shrugged off everything I fired at them. You can see all the craters from behind and around. And it's like, dude, that doesn't seem right. But, you know, that's an awful lot of ammo wasted that I could have used on other targets or other positions. And I'm kind of kicking myself for it now because I've probably thrown maybe in total 81mm mortar and 75 howitzer, probably about maybe 40 rounds in total at them. And that's an awful lot of bang I could have used somewhere else. So who knows? We're going to continue playing the scenario, obviously. Don't expect videos to come out like nearly as regularly as they used to. Unlike a lot of people, I'm still at work with this whole coronavirus thing, so my day hasn't gotten any easier, although I do have some vacation time scheduled coming up soon, so I'm going to try to knock out the rest of this scenario during my vacation and maybe get all the turn stuff recorded for the next one, whatever comes after it, provided we don't lose this scenario and then fail the campaign, because remember, we are on the losing track. So if I lose a battle, that's it. So wish me luck, and off we go, and we'll continue. It's just we're not going to have regular updates like we did before. As far as regular channel news, I'm going to put this in here because more people watch the combat mission stuff than anything else. Ultimate General Civil War is coming to an end soon. I've got everything else is recorded. It's all been cut up. It's all been pasted. It's just on scheduled release. I know not many of you like it or are watching it. To be honest, I don't think it's that great of a game. It's a good game, but it's not great. I just wish it was a little better. But that's coming to an end, and one thing I'm going to need is some other type of easily creatable scheduled content just to kind of keep the channel ticking over on idle. Combat mission won't work. As I've explained previously in the big video that I know I mangled the visuals on it. I should have just put a black screen and said just listen to this and do something else. The production on these takes a long time, and the actual ability to sit down and play these on a regular basis, like combat mission, just, you know, I can't just knock out one or two turns and then be like, okay, that's my scheduled time, I'm up. It's much easier for me to take a day when I've got a long period of time that I can just sit down and knock out like 10 or 15 turns at a time. It's better for me to do it, and it's also better for my gameplay as a whole. Geez, everybody's trying to get a hold of me today. Yeah, so we're going to need some other kind of scheduled content. Something that's easy to make. The Tropico stuff went up. Didn't really get a lot of views or any traction. I get it. You know, most of you guys are wargaming fans, so you're not looking for just like city management. Not to mention, I wasn't exactly trying to be entertaining in those. But that's not what I do. So, I don't know. If you have any suggestions, feel free to message me. Anything in my Steam library you want to see played. I was thinking about maybe recording some gameplay of like Team Tactical on Wargame, Red Dragon. Maybe posting that. I mean, I'm not very good at it, but I do have fun playing it from time to time. I don't know. Other than that, I'm still working. This whole coronavirus thing hasn't affected me at all, so you're not going to see any bonus time. You know, it's not like I'm in quarantine or anything. So, yeah. And as for those of you who are isolating and quarantining, just stay sane. Please turn off your television and maybe read a book or something, because people are going a little wacko. Jeez. Anyway. Other than that, coffee time is almost over, beer time is going to begin, and I've got a few messages I got to answer. So I'll see you on the next one, and okay, bye.